into my mind when you're saying that is the furnace of affliction and the fires of humiliation that forged the soul of gold. So the Colburn Bible, the Egyptian bronze text, or like the Bible itself, in fact, a lot of this ancient knowledge is all surrounded around this idea of those who are closest to the fire, those who are closest to the truth, or like on that they have that destiny calling in their hearts. They must go through severe trials. And in my personal philosophy on that is we must enter and go through calamity in order to inspire radical change. Or else we're going to keep living with one foot in, one foot out. And a calamity when you know that you can no longer go on living that way, or like that you know for sure that that is not the way because you fell off the cliff. Most people never fall off the cliff to start with. But when people do fall off the cliff, the hero's journey is really begun if you have the courage to stand back up and the fire within you to triumph uh, again. But that calamity is really essential in, I guess, a lot of things, and that's where my mind went with that. If you want to direct it further. Mm.
It's truth. It's pressure. It's the cooker of, oh shit, something inside me wants to live. It's completely opposite of what my parents want and all my friends and my lovers and my grandparents.
Whoa.
And dude, I feel the same way that you did. We're talking about your town. I mean, I've become, maybe to a few a hero, but to probably most infamous in my hometown of Texas. And in the same way, I have family members. I had old high school friends literally call me a pervert and a heretic because I'm
Mm.
speaking openly about sexuality and tantra and all these things. And like when I hear something like that, at first I really took it to heart and I really was like,
Hmm.
am I wrong? Like, what have I done? And then later I got ego tripped on it and I was like, well, fuck them. Like, I'm going to go even harder. And now it's like, it really is, how the Greeks showed up to Troy. They landed and they burned the boats. There's no going back.
All in.
Like, all in.
Bro, that was amazing, and I am tingling just because of how much I have from that. But the first thing I want to say is your experience with when people start ripping on you and hating you because you are actually starting to stand in your truth. This is the first step towards awakening the divine masculine or divine feminine, and that is standing up for what you believe in, to be bold, to be courageous. Those who stand for nothing will fall for everything. Like if you do not stand for something, then you won't stand against anything either. So you're not going to get the criticism or the hate, but then you're just going to be a leaf in the wind. So
Right.
standing for something, and then the reaction to that, the effect from that would be just like you stated. It hurt your ego. Like you embraced what they were saying. Like when everyone was laughing at me, and it was because I was still so connected to this world of like literally illusory things completely, and a lot of a sense which we can dive deeper into. And like taking that to heart, man, it hurt me so bad. My entire body was shuddering with how humiliated I became. And then it came to, okay, now I just got to go all in with it, right? And it's kind of like rebelling against that. Like, fuck you guys, I'm going to show you what's up, right?
Right.
And then, like, over the past year, it's been a slow integration into, like, I don't think about them nor care what they think. nor will I ever see them again, probably. Like it's, because you're stepping into you had the courage to create an image or like project an image forth of someone that is standing in the truth. And as you slowly progress towards that image, you enter a new world. You literally enter a world more aligned with yourself, where now the people, most everyone I meet in this town of Durango, like I can talk about my YouTube channel openly with them. It's, there's so much more clear, like they see me, right? They respect me, and they love what I do, and I love what they do. And it's like that old world has been left behind in a sense, and it is because you found like the middle way, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that for me, like, I love what you said. Like, at first it was like a rebellion. So like, I'm going to rebel and show you. And then it kind of flipped. It did start to flip into compassion for me over the past like 2 years. It's just like, although they, might speak hateful things, like, I actually know it's not them. Like, I know they have a true soul and like a heart, and I felt it for some of these people. And I also realized that any one of them could be me.
Yeah.
If they had gone through and read what I read and felt what I felt and had heartbreaks and trials,
Yeah.
they might have awakened into this path. So it's like,
Exactly, man.
in a way, and this is speaking just objectively. I'm not naysaying anyone, but the mud of the pond, the filth, the muck is what nurtures and grows the lotus. And the lotus blossom is like it's the metaphor of the flower of enlightenment. And I read a pretty gnarly quote today. It was next level. I think it was Forbidden Knowledge on Instagram. Shout out to him. He's been a pretty gnarly truth light. When a flower isn't blooming, you don't blame the flower or try to change the flower. You change the environment in the garden.
Totally.
And that quote sums up American culture for me. Where like, when someone blossoms into their truth, people try to stamp them out. Meanwhile, it's a cesspool.
Yeah. Dude,
just like
you are straight reflecting so much of Nietzsche and his philosophy around the higher man. And
right.
If people haven't heard of Nietzsche or like his
The
philosophy
overman.
Around the Overman, go check out Academy of Ideas YouTube channel. Super quick, in-depth videos on Nietzsche. But basically, like I love one quote from him: the chaos of darkness is what gives birth to the dancing star. And it's very crazy because since this talk is going to be touching a lot on the esoteric and bringing that into just like, okay, what does that mean for me? How is that actually applicable? In like Kabbalah, for instance, the face of the prince or like the savior is on the backside of the face of the beast. And this is because the roots of the tree grow as deep into the earth as the leaves will reach to the heavens. And your darkness, your suffering that you must go through in this realm is there for a reason. It is not because you're doing things wrong or you're being punished by God. No, you are actually closer to God. The more that you must face, right? And furthermore, it's how we navigate these challenges that will either grow this way or this way. You know what I mean? And
Right.
how we navigate those challenges. But yeah, really the darkness, like your personal war, as you become more aware of yourself and go deeper and like start to grow, it ever increases. It's very crazy. Like your external reality might be becoming more aligned, but the internal one can be becoming more chaos. Like it's a very crazy thing. But yeah, there's always equal in the polarities out here. So
yes.
Yeah.
And this is natural law. This is natural law. The law or principle of polarity. And I was just on the plane rereading the Kybalion and the Hermetic principles, and I'm gonna take it straight there because I know we share a lot of this. And like, for me, it's pretty funny because, so let's just talk about what the straight words mean. Esoteric, or the occult, just means hidden knowledge. It means codified symbolic knowledge. And no matter what tilt you're from, Muslim, Hindu, Judaist, Buddhist, all those religions are based on esoteric knowledge. And you don't have to take my word for it. I invite you to like research that.
Yes.
And so that's like, it's also what you just spoke to. It's the inner world. It's the unconscious mind and psyche and the subconscious realm, or the soul, whatever you want to call it. Psyche means soul in Greek. So like, they might be indistinguishable.
Oh, really?
Yeah, psyche means soul, and we use the
Whoa.
word psyche for psychology. So like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a divine aspect of the mind that I really believe is there. But anyway, so like you could think of esoteric as your inner reality. And there's nothing woo about this. That's really one of my intentions with this video too, is to touch on grounded principles here, because yeah, you can have flights of fancy and like massive visions, and plants, which we don't even
Mm-hmm.
have time to get into here, can help instigate that. But I'm talking about thoughts, sensations, feelings, and emotions that all human beings experience. This is your inner reality. Now, you may not understand what they're coding, but they're
Mm-hmm.
there. The code's there.
Totally, man.
And so, in opposition to that, or in evolution to that, is the exoteric, or the external world, or the real world. Get a real job. Like, well, that's great, but welcome to the real world. Like, well, you're talking about the exoteric world, which is the manifest world of sight, and I
Mm-hmm.
can touch things. One of the main theses I've chosen to live under is that not only are they connected, they cause one another.
Ah,
They're causally intertwined. And so
definitely.
that's a big part of my journey, and that's why I
Mm,
do love reading ancient philosophy and ancient
totally.
psychology, because they speak in a very beautiful and potent way.
Oh my gosh, man. I hear that. Like, um, man, it's funny. I've made a few videos on this, in fact, is that the Hermetics were like 10 times 10 beyond any modern psychologist, because they had sufficient and like absolute I guess understanding of the principles that govern like the psyche and the mind. Like, for instance, the law of gender, the yin and the yang, right? Or the law of polarity, right? The electric and like the negative, and all these different things. But that, like, how we think is always in terms of these laws, how the universe operates: as within, so without; as without, so within; as above, so below; as below, so above, right? How you use your body literally shapes your psyche. Yet what thoughts you have shapes your body. It's very crazy, and it's like it's all interlocked. And um, I guess I just want to bring this back to the esoteric and exoteric. It was what you were tying in, and I would, I guess, in my own words, I would just say that esoteric, like, kind of means to me like something that's obscure. It's hidden, and it's not easily understood. It's not like it's more metaphoric. It's symbolic, right? But to understand this reality, my friends, it is not to see the effects. It's not to see like the final form, because we live in a world of basically effects. What actually created that? Why did your girlfriend break up with you? Right? You're only looking at the effect that she broke up with you, but it could have been a million different things. Where was the
Right.
first cause? Right? Where was the first cause of creation, of man, of how we see and all this stuff? And I guess I like Manly P. Hall on this. And Manly P. Hall, perhaps one of the greatest teachers of like the like more modern era, um, he would say that philosophy is the science and the study of the first cause, or the ability to discern that, like, effects from causes. And this is very, um, yeah, it goes too deep into some sacred text stuff, but I just want to link that together. Is that esoteric is kind of hard to grasp, but it holds the keys to actually understanding what is going on inside of you, why you feel this way, why you can't overcome this addiction, why you can't, like, go out there and do that thing, why we have this inner war, all these forces that aren't aligned, right? So they're at war with each other because we have not balanced the poles. We have not balanced the powers that rule over us. And I guess that's really my spiel on what esoteric is and like how it can help you. And
Right.
yeah.
And I want to speak to any skeptics out there, because I'm a skeptic. I think skepticism is quite healthy, especially in an age of information bloat and data stream corruption. There's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of shitty information out there. And so um, the esoteric knowledge is maybe the most heavily bastardized, especially in the new age community. And, I've distanced myself early on the path. I went all in, and I was like, whoa, I have chakras and yoga, and like, that was a pathway in for me, and it served me. I awakened through it, even though I had to realize that later I'd have to delete a lot of it because it wasn't true for me.
Yeah.
And this is where discernment comes in. And what you have to realize, and this is just like pure logic and one of my favorite arguments, because if you look at the ancients, we were talking about this before the call. If you look at the ancients, look at what they constructed. The actual stone monuments that exist in Mesoamerica and Egypt and the Middle East and Asia, like, you just need to look at it. You don't need to know anything about building. You don't need to know anything about architecture. And you can just feel the intelligence. It's at a very high level, maybe at a level higher than what we have modernly. There's arguments there. So much more than was their texts and their knowledge and their ideation. So when you read an ancient text, like the Kybalion, like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, like Manly P. Hall,
Yeah.
I was reading Manly P. Hall feverishly when I was backpacking through Asia.
Yeah.
So powerful.
He's and he's very grounded with, like, if you guys really just want master keys to life, go check out some Manly P. Hall lectures just in practical psychology. But
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's really my greatest argument, is that if it's hard to understand, yes, but if you read that stuff and you're like, oh, it's a bunch of bullshit, like, look what we have in modernity. I have iPhones and Google. Like, we're so much more advanced than these people were. Like, that's kind of spiritual woo-woo. It's like, you're so dead wrong.
And I feel like it's hard for people to come to that realization unless they come face to face with how dead wrong shit is. When they come face to face with severe loneliness, with severe alienation, with complete, like, I can't work 8 hours a day on a damn computer. Like, something's wrong here. Something's, like, not right. And I feel like a lot of people have this feeling like, something is deeply wrong with this world at this time. And for me, it was so illuminating to start diving into the ancient knowledge. Because, for instance, the first virtue of Stoicism, one of my favorite philosophies, this is Seneca. Live in accordance with nature. It's the first one. And right now we're at war with nature. Like, look at all these, like, concrete buildings and shit, and we're killing the animals. We are a plague right here. On top of that, inside of us, our own inner nature, we are not in accordance with this. We are not in alignment with, the primal, like, the body. We're not in alignment with what the soul is calling you to do. We are not in alignment with the heart, the mind, and the body. And therefore, we're scattered and separated. And because of this lack of connection and lack of integration, this is why addiction, suicide, like, all of these psychological phenomena that never existed before are just escalating so quickly. And it's because we are so unaligned with the truth of our own nature and the truth of nature out here. And that's just one example. Like, that's like the first thing that an ancient text would reveal to you is the objective truth within you and without, like, outside of you. So
right. And I want to draw attention, and then I want to move on to another exciting topic that just came in. I want to draw attention to the direction of causation. If you're trying to change external reality feverishly to solve an internal problem, got it reversed. You're going to have to go to the inner world, to the esoteric, to the unconscious, to the felt presence of your own consciousness in a body, not just floating around up here, in a body, to address the way you deal with outer reality. And that is as we spoke earlier, this is a way of trial and tribulation and calamity, because you may not have ever had cause to pay attention to your inner world until some shit really goes wrong in your outer world.
Boom. Totally, man. I so agree with that. The one thing I was going to say there was, it's not coming to me anymore. Whatever. Let's just move on to the next one. That's cool.
Let's move on to something a little more grounded here.
Yeah, let's bring this down here.
Let's bring it down. We went on a pretty gnarly spiral there. So I want to pick your brain, Dmitrius, of, like, when you first started on this path, and you were trying to do online business, and you had fully separated from, the mitote, as the Toltecs call it, the tribe being like, you're wrong, and like, and like, you just kind of like, all right, I'm a hero, like, let's do it. what were like, let's just do top two practices for that 1-1 and the 11 that you committed to, that immediately created transformation in your life, that were tangible? First things that come up, like, it doesn't have to be like
The very first thing that comes up is like being gentle with myself, because I grew up in a world that it like demanded that I be forceful with everything. I was never sleeping enough. I had football coaches, a very like powerful dad who was like an F-16 fighter pilot and like run sales teams and stuff. So just like super like boom, 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 and then just like 7 college courses at once and all this stuff. So I had to force my way through life, and it was exhausting. I was literally dragging 1,000 pounds up a mountain that I couldn't even see the top of. And the first thing that really came to me was the Tao Te Ching and the Book of the Way. And if you guys haven't read the Tao before, it is an hour-and-a-half audiobook or quick read, and it is so profound. If you need to heal in the sense of, it is the polarity of the Western world is the Tao, and it is to be gentle. It is to be subtle with things. It is to be it kind of teaches you to move more in alignment with your truth and not have to force your way through this reality. How can we, jump on the downstream? So
right.
being gentle with things. And then the second one was, I need to make videos, because I was in this state of literally consuming like 8 to 10 hours of info every day. And I literally like, this brought me to the brink of losing my mind in so many different ways, because all of this knowledge wasn't grounded down here. And like, when you only think about things and like read and receive, and you're very like curious about that stuff, what happens is you fill up like all your brain's capacity of all this information, but it's not connected. It's not linked together. So literally, it is all these separate pieces instead of one puzzle, right? And because of that, like, you cannot create discipline in your life, because in everything you do, there's conflicting thoughts about what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
And it is about taking that and basically go like through experience, through speaking with people, through sharing, right? And not sharing some kind of like airy idea that you read, but what's true in your experience, right? What worked for you? What seems powerful? What are you learning right now? Share the things close to your heart. And that was the second thing that really, I guess, was a catalyst towards transformation, was just speaking about what I was learning and realizing that I wasn't some guru and I wasn't already at the next level, although I tried to be sometimes, like the ego trips. But
Right.
yeah, just really like realizing that we're all students and teachers, and the best way to learn is through teaching. And furthermore, it organizes your mind. So
Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I think, even if you're not reading these ancient texts and so, which I can fully relate with everything you're saying. I used to read like a book a day when I was backpacking. Like, it was getting ridiculous. And now I understand the value of discipline and the value of information diet and information output. And this also goes back to the body too, like how much I want to train my body and exert, lift, yoga, whatever. And then how much I want to restore my body, float tanks, massage,
Totally,
nature,
man.
relaxation.
Yeah.
And this is really what I heard you say, to recap here, really powerful. The first thing is understand the power of subtlety and gentleness. And this is something that the esoteric teaches really well, is like, subtlety is true power. You can force your way through life, and
But
you will create
yeah.
an equal and opposite force coming back at you. Or
Totally.
you can use subtlety, and the sage does nothing at all and yet leaves nothing undone.
Yeah.
And
Totally,
like,
man.
this is how to be, and nature does this. I think what's behind that is like, look at how nature accomplishes things. Number two is like, and this is really important for this age of like scrolling on the news feed, right? If you're sitting there on the news feed just scrolling, like, here's an invitation. Like, install an operating system in your nervous system that can quickly, intuitively, and truthfully make decisions. Because like you said, you'll never gain discipline, you'll never gain power if the opposite thoughts are constantly appearing. Well, is this right? Is this wrong? Well, Lady Gaga said this, but Fox News said that. It's like,
Yeah.
you have to trust yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
you have to end that polarity
Whoa. Yeah.
before it saps your energy.
Yeah.
And I know this because I'm still aware of it in myself. And every day, you
Mm-hmm.
know, I'm training, I'm doing breath work, I'm timing myself. I'm using time as an art form instead of a slave system where it's like, okay, I'm going to put this much time towards this. I'm not going
Totally.
to try to finish it no matter what. I'm going to put
Totally,
this
man.
much time towards it. Okay, done. Next, let me
Yeah.
make a new decision. Because it's like, I see a lot of people, especially like you said, if you're sitting at a computer 8 hours a day, like I spend a lot of time on the computer, but it's in a creative function and it
Mm-hmm.
actually gives me energy a lot of the time. As soon as my energy gets drained and my posture gets drained, I know it's time
And
to switch.
yep. Totally. Man, I could have made about a 4-hour video based off that few sentences you just said because it touched on so many things. But breathwork really united everything you were saying. And I just want to redeliver what I just said about consuming information and producing information in the sense of breath. Because my friends, there's always a yin yang with everything. How we think, like there's a yin yang. And especially with how we learn and what we take in and what we put out, my friends. Your out breath has to equal or like fully exhale so that you can fully inhale, right? So in this information age where we're scrolling and we're reading so much and we can listen to, the greatest sages of all time speak into our ear all day, right? What happens is this knowledge just takes up space and is not linked together in the framework, okay? So what is really essential, this is probably the most essential thing for anybody who is like doing the research and very interested in becoming, their true self and bringing forth what is within them, um, is that it is so important to bring forth what is within you, my friends. And it is so important to know and have conviction that where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. And you are enough. You can speak. You can write, like
Yes.
just free write, free journal. Speak, my friends, because, yo, you can only like use what you put out. You can only take in as much and actually benefit from it and put it together. That it has to be equal. It has to be in equilibrium with the yang, with the out breath, right? There's an exhale, then there's an inhale. There's inspiration, then there's action, right? So really balancing your whole life with in breath and out breath. Whether you're reading and imagining things, that's very yin. It's very in breath. You are receiving, right? And then when you go out into the world and you take action, then we bring forth what we have, basically acquired in that yin period. So that's just like another esoteric, I guess, key that is the master key of all life, and that is the law of gender. So,
Yes, yes. And for anyone that's wondering, you know, if you just YouTube right now the 7 laws of hermetics or the Kybalion, you know, this is powerful information. I think you have videos on it on your
mm-hmm,
channel. I've actually been, you know, I have a confession. I've been holding back. I recorded myself for the first time listening to the 7 hermetic laws and giving my
mm,
downloads, and they're sitting in my Evernote. So
totally,
those might show up on my podcast as well
yeah,
this episode. But yeah, this is big stuff. This is big stuff. And I want to zoom in on something really important that you just said, because I hear people telling me this, which is hilarious
mm-hmm,
because I mean, on one level, I don't give a fuck if you think I can't speak about the things I speak about. But on level 2, I actually feel a little bit of sadness if I switch places with that person, because it's like, oh, you don't think you can speak about what you know.
mm-hmm.
And this is a very tricky concept that comes up a lot in the esoteric works, but I think has
This
never been
is,
more important as AI and social media is proliferating.
mm-hmm,
You have to trust yourself.
mm,
You have to trust yourself. I hear people say, well, you know, I'll make videos once I'm an expert. Let me take a 10-hour coaching course first. It's
biggest
like,
psyop out here, right there, my friend. Like
whoa, come
literally
on
this
now.
this idea of having to be an authority or have like your
Yes.
PhD or be like, authorized by something else to say that you are a guru now. You can speak. It's like, yeah, but go on, man. That's just one
Well,
thing
you
that
just
really
said it. I
bugs
mean,
me.
like, respect to the PhD path. You know, I was once on that path, and I was very in this modality of this myth of authority. And then let me like go one layer deeper
Mm-hmm.
as a philosopher here, because I studied psychology, philosophy. Those are my majors, and it's created a free thinker, which now
Mm-hmm.
allows me to interact with reality in a very potent and pleasurable way, I would say. But appeal to authority, and this is straight from Aristotle, like pure logic. OG of Western philosophy, the appeal to authority is among the weakest argument there is. The most
Yes.
powerful arguments are appeals to direct experience, appeals to rationality itself, or appeals to testimony, which testimony still isn't as weak as
Yeah.
your own experience, right?
Totally.
Appeals to authority, like that's like me and you having a conversation. You had a direct experience that didn't validate what I was saying. And meanwhile, you're going to tell me what George Bush said or what Donald Trump said. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Totally, man. Like I hate that entire concept because people aren't very good at articulating their own thoughts or the truth, period. Like, and this is the skill that actually develops through just speaking what you feel and resonate with inside and speaking it with conviction, not taking these halfway measures to be like, I believe this. It's like, no, speak your argument, speak what you think is true in that moment. Like, don't lie to yourself right then. But if you speak your truth right then, like, you're good to go because you're going to learn how to articulate what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And really, this is the entire journey of the soul. I've been writing a lot about this in the sense that the mission and like the highest excitement and aspiration of our soul here on earth is to learn how to articulate what we're feeling in perfection, to learn how to express our feelings and our thoughts with grace and wisdom. So, and that, yeah.
Ooh. Man, this is my superpower, and it's obviously yours too, brother. And I want to speak to one of my favorite current thinkers, Jordan Peterson. I was re-listening to, I think it was his first appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast, Godfather of podcasts.
He's good.
And they're talking about reconciling science and religion. And it's just this, if you haven't seen that, go to YouTube, go to iTunes and listen to those because you will get your mind blown. Regardless of the political side, like set that aside and like listen to the truth. Jordan's talking about, like, just like we're doing right now, a very powerful conversation. I'm getting spirit bumps as I say this, so I know we're online here. A very powerful conversation that flirts with the edges of our current understanding, of my current understanding of reality, in a way is helping to organize my mind and articulate my soul.
Yes.
And we're doing that together in real time. And anyone watching this video now or later or listening to this in their earbuds can do that with us by adding in their own stream of thoughts and sensations and emotion. Because just like a river running, right? And this is Heraclitus. I'm going to keep name dropping ancient philosophers. Heraclitus is my favorite Greek philosopher because he much more represents and reps like a Taoist philosophy. Like Heraclitus is, he's kind of anti the Greek schools. He's the one that says, you may never step into the same river twice. Yeah. The only thing true about reality is change. And just like he's talking about, if you go to a stream and you try to grasp the same water twice in that stream, like anyone would say you were a fool. It's the same with your articulation. My edge of articulation and my truth and my logic and my rationality, I'm going to the edge of my stream. And so if you're trying to tell me that there's an authority out there or a study that has locked down this knowledge for all time, like I instantly know you're bankrupt.
Dude, yes. I have two really potent things to add on to that. And the first one is, like, if you are referring to something that you read or appealing to authority like that, you are speaking in dead tongue. You're speaking in dead knowledge. Living knowledge is what moves people, my friends, because it's not coming from some faraway place over here. It's coming from right here. It's coming from the heart, right? And your experience, like my friends, communication is like the highest form of magic. How you communicate, just think about this, really. I have a single thought of like something I want to say, right? And out of nowhere, all the words to fill the sentences, how I move my hands, my tonality, how I use my face, all magically comes into a perfect alignment to communicate an idea to you through airwaves, right? Think about that. And furthermore, this leads directly into the next thing I wanted to say on conversation, is that I've been so blessed lately to have very potent people around me that see me. And we are both like, I guess like together we are all facing and going through this growth, like, and we get to talk about it. And I'm realizing the power of conversation, my friends, because just like I just said, how communication is the highest form of magic, it in fact orders your subconscious mind, because our
Oh,
subconscious mind has taken in everything that we've ever learned, all of our experiences, right? But our conscious mind has no way of actually like accessing this and piecing it together. And this is why we're ruled by a subconscious mind that we can't do anything about. It's because we haven't, done freeform art. We haven't gone into having dope ass conversations all the time. It's all mundane shit that isn't close to your heart because you think someone over there knows the truth and that's the only way, right? It's not like you know the truth, but when you actually have heartfelt, true conversations that aren't like, that's what he said, and I kind of like that, but it's coming from your own innate wisdom. You are building self reliance, and you are now articulating and bringing forth from a subconscious mind everything you've been receiving. And this creates a framework in your conscious mind, like crystallizes it. And I know Kevin is getting goosebumps right now because we're both
come
creators.
on.
And being as creators who like to speak on what they have been learning, right? What they've been experiencing and the growth that's been, I guess, coming out of that, you actually reveal so much to yourself in every video you make, far more than you reveal to anyone else. You don't
Yes.
even know what you know, my friends. I love the book of Sirach, one of the removed books of the Bible. It says that wisdom is realized through the spoken word. This is why the ancients, like Hermes Trismegistus and like all these like great sages, they had gnosis talks. It was always a dialogue. It was always a debate, because you're not going to be like referring to Google or like listening to something. No, you are actually like saying what you think, right? And then building and, like going off other people so that it can lead both of you to grand realizations of deeper truths of this reality. So,
That's what we're doing right now, brother. This is a gnosis talk.
yeah.
This is a gnosis. This is a prognosis. This is hypnosis. This is the culturally hypnosis that's blowing through what you may be seeing elsewhere on the news feed, elsewhere online,
Yeah.
and also don't take anything we're saying as truth, because you're seeing us articulate our truth. And hopefully that's in a way that you can gain value and inspiration
Mm-hmm.
from. That's
Totally.
my intention,
Yeah.
to see how you too can do this. And your
Mm-hmm.
enunciation, your articulation, your spelling, you're spelling reality because you're a magician. And that's why the imagination is the I Magi nation. And like we are in it right
That's
now.
good.
We're
Yeah.
doing it. Like,
Yeah.
man.
Totally,
Well,
man.
dude, this is some next level shit. I feel like we could go on forever, but to
Mm-hmm.
ground this in even further,
Let's bring it
talk
back
about
down.
reality files and what you're doing. Like what's on the horizon for you? What are you excited about?
Man, I mean, the entire vision is too big. Like it's way up there. But really with Reality Files is I try to deliver the most potent, valuable, like practical information possible. The things that really do change lives. And because for over like 2 years now, it has been my number one focus to learn, experience, grow from, and then like transmit like these teachings into like the modern tongue. I've guess like I've just like really acquired a vast way of articulating and speaking about these things, and I'm ever looking at my reality to find the keys that are going to help somebody. So that's what Reality Files is about. It's formless. There is no set like label or category that I'm in, but I just touch on the things that change lives. And um, based off the feedback I've been getting lately, love all you guys out there. Thank you so much, by the way. Um, yeah, I think that I've definitely taken phase one in the right direction, and phase two is going to be now bringing it even deeper into the earth, into deeper embodiment. And currently, I'm living with a martial arts master and another amazing individual out here, and we're gonna start, in fact, merging his martial arts earth-based practical philosophy with like the wisdom and the esoteric knowledge and like psychology and philosophy. And this is going to be very powerful in a lot of ways because of the fact that most people who get into like the spirituality or the esoteric stuff, they go way off over there, and then their reality don't change. They don't become like they don't have more vitality. They aren't more
Right.
powerful here on earth, right? They aren't making like more moves towards their true authentic self. In fact, they're getting further and further away because they're living up there in the realms of on grounded knowledge. So that's really the goal, is to create that kind of relationship and learn how we can connect and integrate those further. And that's where I am right now. I also do coaching, and been making some products around how, like, keys for creators and entrepreneurs. So
Boom.
yeah.
I'm excited to see more of it. And I'm excited to continue our trade
Totally.
route of knowledge and wisdom. He's tagged here on Facebook if you're watching there, Reality Files on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a big library of some next level stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're a potent articulator, man. And it's an honor to have you here.
Yeah,
And
bro, it was such an honor to be here. And I had, like, the entire time I had this, this slowly receding like resistance to this talk, and it's because of the synergy that exists here. And I really appreciate you holding the space and hosting me here. And furthermore, I can't wait to see where this goes, if we can nuzzle in any deeper with our connection and way of sharing, because dang, we could make some serious embers and flames out here, my friends. And all of you guys watching,
yeah.
thank you for, interjecting and, bringing your energy to the table. And yeah, let's create this community and tribe and just bring it up to the
Yes.
next level every day.
We're
So
doing it. We just did it. We're doing it. We will continue to do it. Wow. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. If you felt it, tag somebody, share this video out with your tribe, man, and follow Dmitrius. Check out Reality Files. This has been a potent talk. There's a lot of gems of wisdom, knowledge in
totally,
here.
man.
Last thing I want to say is I'm going to drop a link. I'm excited. I'm doing a contest right now. You can get my ebook for free and also be entered to win a free week of coaching with me. It's going to be legendary, building out the newsletter. I'm excited to be launching a lot of new mystical, powerful coaching packages for entrepreneurs, for couples, for
Yes.
young wizards and young magicians, because
Yes.
I want to see us manifest not only on the higher planes, but down here in the lower, and in the matrix. The currency is real and we're flowing
Yes.
the current. So,
Uh,
all right, fam.
this last, I also am on the same exact page of making that conscious creator package and bringing it all back down to earth. And I hope that me and Kevin can have one more conversation in the future, or many more, and just bring what we talked about today even deeper, even deeper, even deeper. How can we take that kind of information and articulate it better, to better, like, move and create that realization and, like, revelation inside of others? So thank you all for watching. Go check out Kevin on Facebook if you're checking out my YouTube channel right now. And I'll see you guys all later. Thank you so much for having me, Kevin. Like, you're
Thanks,
such an
brother.
amazing man.
Appreciate you, man. Let's keep the wisdom fire lit. We out.
We out.